I'd like to call the special meeting back to order, please. Regent Hargreaves.
Before we dispense with that motion or whatever we're doing to it, where did this one institution accreditation come from? Was that something the university was considering before the legislator got the idea and tried to put it in a bill?
No.
Has that been around for a while, or where did it come from?
Originally, I'm not sure I can answer the question. It certainly was in the air when I first came into this role 4 years ago, because that prompted my asking former, at that time, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dana Thomas, he was retired, to write that report. So, and I can't put my fingers on its origin.
So the point is the university had discussed it before this legislator came up with it.
Absolutely, and I believe, and Michelle will, or Miles, there he is, I think there was intent language 2 years ago, 3 years ago also, that strongly encouraged the regents to consider this at that time as well.
Regent Dewar.
Yeah, so I understand that we're still under discussion, and my question is then, can you describe, Mr. Chair, what it is that you, first of all, what the title of the ad hoc committee that you've formed is and what the purpose is?
So the title is the Special Committee on Restructuring, and the purpose is to have a sounding board for the president, or whichever direction we go, to get more frequent feedback from regents, and for a regent to assess where we are in that process and whether we need to have a meeting of that subcommittee, which would allow other regents to participate in the conversation about how things are unfolding in the development of a plan.
So am I misinterpreting the motion to be similar in nature to what you've asked the committee to define?
No, the committee is not developing a plan. The committee is just being the sounding board.
I see. The sounding board for the president.
Correct. If there's no further discussion on the motion, I would like to.
I did.
Oh, you have more discussion. Okay.
So, like Regent O'Neill, I take my fiduciary responsibility to the university extremely seriously. And that's why I made the motion that I did, that we proceed with moving forward right now with the consortium 3 university model. We've got the 2 accredited. Fairbanks may or may not receive their accreditation depending on which way we go. One university will be costly to implement and take away dollars from academics and students. One university will hurt our athletic programs, and the athletes that are here today are very concerned. We've heard from the chancellors where they can make savings. I've heard that as we move forward with one university, we will still have right now 2 engineering programs, and we're going to be looking at creating a 3rd engineering program. So if we have duplication and redundancy right now, as we look at forming and creating the College of Engineering, because we've got to, and I would defer to others, and I know the president thinks I'm completely wrong. And then the other is, I don't see us being able to implement between now and the end of this fiscal year one university. It will take potentially 2 years or longer to put this one university in place. And in the meantime, while we're working on one university, what happens to the students that are part of the system today? Thank you.
You may. Okay, the question's been called. Brandy, would you call the roll on the motion?
Again, as I understand the motion, it directs the president to work in connection with the chancellors and the governance organizations on the consortium model, while also working to develop a plan to consider the one university model.
Thank you.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Regent Beretta?
Just a moment, please. Mr. Chair, I'm going to move to table that motion.
We've already called the question.
What?
Order, the question's been called. There's no further debate.
Right.
With all due respect, General Counsel, that a motion to table is non-debatable, and a motion to end discussion is required in order to end discussion. A motion to call for the question is also a motion under Robert's rules. No single regent can simply end debate by calling for the question.
You're correct, Regent Tuber. So there's a vote first on the call of the question. If you'd like, I take a recess and verify whether you can table a vote when it's a vote on a call of the question.
I'm moving to table the motion. If we're clear.
Table the call?
No, I'm moving to table the motion that Regent Parker has made.
That will require me to delve into the depths of Robert's rules to determine whether you can table.
You'll find me there, but
I may, but since I'm counsel, I think probably I should do that. So, motion to table.
So are we taking a break?
Yeah, if we can take a short break.
We're at ease for hopefully a few moments.
all motions, yes.
All right, let's come back to order. And General Counsel, do you have some words of wisdom for us?
I'm pleased to find that Regent Tuber is correct, that the motion to lay on the table takes precedence over a call of the question.
Second.
Okay. Call the roll on the motion to table.
Regent Parker? Regent O'Neill?
Yes.
Regent Banya? Regent Tuber? Regent Anderson?
Can there be clarification on what a yes and no vote is?
A yes vote would table the motion that's before us.
Yes.
Regent Hargraves?
Yes.
Regent Hughes?
Yes.
Regent Beretta? Regent Beretta? Regent Purdue?
Yes.
Regent Garrett?
No.
Regent Davies?
Yes.
8 in favor, 2 opposed.
So we've tabled the motion.
We tabled it.
Mm-hmm. Regent Hughes.
I'd like to have a motion move, sorry, I'd like to move to take the motion I made earlier today off the table, and I do have an amendment.
What?
So do I have to move that, or,
Yes.
okay, I move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and
Second
seconded. Okay, can you call the roll on the motion to remove from the table?
Regent Banya? Regent Tuber?
Yes.
Regent Hughes?
Yes.
Regent Garrett?
Yes.
Regent O'Neill? Regent Hargraves? Regent Beretta? Regent Purdue?
Yes.
Regent Anderson?
Yes.
Regent Parker?
Yes.
Regent Davies?
Yes.
10 in favor, none opposed.
You have a motion to amend? So the item that was on the table, which was the original motion there, is in
Right,
front of
and
us.
I think everybody has a copy, but the first amendment I would have is in paragraph 3, and this was meant to say that, but I would add to preparing and then insert a plan for board approval to transition to a single institutional accreditation. So a plan for board approval, and that would be something that's within the list of 4. And then as,
Oh, you can do more than 2, more than 1?
I just have some intent language. Can I have intent language?
It might be simple. Can I just ask if there's any objection to that one?
Oh, okay.
Okay, is there any objection to that amendment on at item 3?
Please restate it.
After the word to and preparing to, we would insert a plan for board approval.
In 3.
I'm sorry, it's after the word to in 3.
I think it's actually
Before the word preparing, before the word to,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's before.
yeah.
After the word preparing, I'm sorry.
I would move the recommendation.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Brandy, would you call the roll?
Regent Purdue?
Yes.
Regent Garrett?
No.
Regent Banya? Regent O'Neill? Regent Parker? Regent Hargraves?
Yes.
Regent Beretta? Regent Tuber?
Yes.
Regent Anderson?
Yes.
Regent Hughes?
Yes.
Regent Davies?
Yes.
8 in favor, 2 opposed.
Okay, Regent Hughes.
Is this for my intent language?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting a little wonky. Maybe I was wonky to begin with. I would like to, as part of the Regent's intent with respect to this particular motion, confirm the Regent's desire to have the chancellors continue to work together and assist in any way they can the president's tough task of figuring out where our university needs to be for future decades.
Can you restate that?
Point of order, Mr. Chair. I think that Mr. Regent Hughes' comments would be.
Andy, can you use your mic, please?
Yes, that her comments would be under discussion, right? So they would be, to the extent that they're recorded, they would be recorded under discussion of the main motion that's been withdrawn from the table. The motion that just passed modified the language of the motion, but for her to suggest that there's an additional provision in the motion that would require another motion.
Right, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Okay, no intent language then.
All right. I guess it seems to me that when the motion's in front of us, that there could be an amendment to the motion to add that language.
There could be if somebody made it.
Right.
Well,
so do you want to make a motion to add the intent language?
Do a friendly amendment.
No, there's no such thing as a friendly amendment.
Well, I think that I think our intent is no, and I don't think we need to have intent language.
All right, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, so the motion as amended is in front of us. Is there further discussion?
Is it appropriate to call on the student leader to discuss? I'd like to hear from him.
Sure.
So I don't necessarily have direct comments on the specific nature of the definition of the motion and things like that. But just I think one thing that's been really understated in this whole conversation is the impact to the student identity and to impact the students of moving to a single accreditation university. And obviously, as President Johnson has put forth, there's a very logical reasons of moving towards a single accreditation. And I'm not saying those things are without merit at all. But coming from the students and all the conversations that I've had is there's very grave concerns of losing the single accreditation for all three universities, because as a student, I know that the identity of students at UAA are vastly different than the identity of students at UAF and UAS. We have a very different culture. You can look at the demographics of the students at all three of these institutions, and you can see that they're very different. Whether you're looking at the age of students, whether you're looking at the age of first-time students, or how many students are living on residential campus, and so forth. And I think when I believe it was Regent Tuber that brought up kind of the analogy of removing limbs, right? So when we're moving towards the single accreditation in such a rapid-fire way that we would have to in this current kind of model that's been proposed, we'd be removing some limbs. And sometimes maybe that's required, but obviously it's very hard to put back limbs. So once we move towards and gain a single accreditation, we cannot move back. Or it's very difficult to move back to regional accreditations for the universities, which I think we can all agree in a perfect world, like we've maybe not been living the past 5 years, but before that, the accreditations for all three of these universities were very beneficial because we have different cultures. So once we move towards that single accreditation, we lose that ability in the future to have that strength as a vast geographic span that Alaska exists in, and a vast variety of people that the University of Alaska serves. So I think I would really encourage all of you, and I'm really glad that I've heard the term student concerns and very student-centered several times during this meeting. I'm really glad to hear that. I know that in the deepest of all of your hearts, you guys have the student's perspective in mind, and I really respect that. And I want to thank you for continuing to keep students at the center of your discussion. But I think we really cannot underestimate the impact that moving towards a single accreditation would have on the student identity of all students, all that exists in this university. So, and I don't know, Maria had some comments, but I don't know if that's appropriate.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So basically, I wanted to make some comments just on the accreditation. So of course, I've been also in contact with the president and President Ramaswamy of the accrediting body, as have the chancellors, of course, and they are very concerned and they're very supportive. They want to maintain, the health and the accreditation of our 3 separate universities. But the process, if we do move towards single accreditation, they have a rubric. They'll assemble a panel. The panel will be reviewing a very comprehensive proposal, and the sum of it, of course, is how will this affect students? And then the other part of that, of course, is who was involved in creating the proposal? Were student governance there? Was staff council was there? Was faculty alliance there? Who is at the table as we develop this plan, or any plan, right? Even the consortium plan has to have our shared governance principles. And I understand the Board of Regents has a fiduciary responsibility, but the twin to that is accreditation. Move too quickly on this model, and you will lose accreditation. So this is something that has to be deliberative. I think the chancellors have clearly shown that they've worked very hard at getting to a reduction number that President Johnson asked them to in these very stressful times. So I just caution again, and I'll be mentioning my concerns over accreditation. So thank you.
Thank you. Just with respect to your one of your concerns there, as this plan is being developed, this motion includes that there would be consulting with the students, faculty, and staff, and the governance groups. So it's not like we're approving a plan right now. We're approving a process to create a plan, and that process will include consultation. Thank you. Any other discussion at this point? Region 2.
I promise this to be my last. I take, like my fellow regents across the table, my responsibility here on the board very seriously, and I appreciate the willingness of those members of the subcommittee who have offered to participate in what's described here under the motion as possessing interim oversight of the steps that are being taken under the authority of this motion. And I would ask, Mr. Chair, that you add me to your subcommittee and offer or extend the offer to other members of the Board of Regents who similarly have concern over ensuring that their fiduciary responsibility of oversight for the university is maintained.
So be it. You're done. You're on the committee.
Thank you so much.
Is there anybody else who wishes to be on the committee? Regent Garrett. I would remind you that anytime a meeting is called, all regions are invited to participate. So, but
Mr. Chairman, can you have 4 regions on a committee like that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because every meeting of every meeting of the subcommittee will have to be noticed.
It's open.
I would also like to be on
Vote on this. Did this motion get amended anywhere?
It did.
It did.
Can we have a reading of it the way it's written now?
As amended.
Can I give you an abbreviation? Well, do you have it right there?
Yes.
Can I see? So the only
Chair
modification.
David, did you hear that I would like to be on that committee?
Yes, I did. Regent Anderson, you are so appointed.
Plan for board approval. That's the only change that's been made.
Okay.
But what I would caution you to be mindful of is that within.
So does everybody understand the motion that's in front of us right now?
You're not part of the approval process.
Chair Davies, this is Regent Beretta.
Yeah.
Regent Beretta?
Yeah, I was offline for a bit there. Can you just restate the motion and the last motion before that.
I'll restate the motion one more time. The Board of Regents, this is the entire motion. The Board of Regents, pursuant to its duty to govern the University of Alaska in the best interest of the state, authorizes the president, with interim oversight from a Regents subcommittee to be appointed by the chair, which actually I'm noting has been appointed by the chair, to implement the following steps toward increasing the share of resources devoted to academics and student services by developing a revised organizational structure for the University of Alaska, : Then there are 4 sub-points under that. The first one is reducing administrative costs immediately through consolidation and standardization of processes in, quote, back office, unquote, functional areas, including but not limited to information technology, finance, university relations, and procurement. Point 2, preparing a strategic approach to combining duplicative academic colleges and schools, consolidating research institutes, and enhanced integration of community campuses for review and approval by the board at its meeting on September 12-13, 2019. Point 3, and this is the one that was modified from the original, and it now reads, preparing a plan for board approval to transition to a single institutional accreditation over the 2019-2020 academic year. And 4, consulting through the above steps with student, faculty, and staff governance groups. Brandy, would you call the roll?
Thank you.
Regent Beretta,
Yes.
Regent Banya, Regent Garrett,
No.
Regent Hughes,
Yes.
Regent Hargraves,
No.
Regent Anderson,
Yes.
Regent Tuber,
Yes.
Regent Parker, Regent Purdue,
Yes.
Regent O'Neill, Regent Davies,
Yes.
8 in favor, 3 opposed.
All right. Thank you very much.